Hey guys, I picked up the Massed Ranks Dromoka intro pack for Magic the Gathering, Dragons of Tarkir. It's an alternate take on Khans of Tarkir since Sarkhan went back in time and changed a few things. Um, I've made normally when I get an intro pack I play it a few times and then I make a few adjustments. Now this deck is amazing the way it is against other intro packs. It will win 3 out of 4 times at least. Well, we tested it a few times and it did lose a couple of times to the Ojutai deck, but that was just pure luck. Anyway, moving right along. It's nice to see a reprint of Pacifism. I don't know about the quality. Hopefully you can tell what cards are what, but this guy here, Pacifism, very handy, and it works really well against your opponent's big, honking, nasty things, which, in this set, every other thing on, say turn 6 and 7 is going to be a big honking thing. And of course, we don't have to worry about Siege Rhino anymore because, well, we can deal with it. I've been very careful not to add anything to it from Fate Reforged or Khans. This is purely all from Dragons of Tarkir. Now, the reason I've done that is, of course, these videos are based for new people, and of course, if you've been playing for 3 or 4 years, you're going to have a huge backlog of things you can add to make a really good modern deck. So you're not quite in the same league. You are far superior because you've got access to a nice backlog of cards and you can do all sorts of things. But new people, well, you're not going to have that huge backlog unless you buy a collection or whatever it might be. So getting these intro packs is great for new players and casual players too. Anyway, moving along. Now this guy, Enduring Scalelord, is amazing. Every other creature in this deck, almost every one of them has bolster. You put a 1/1 counter on your weakest creature. That is incredibly fantastic because this guy gets a 1/1 counter whenever you put a 1/1 counter on another creature. You've got 2 of them out. Well, say hello to a 300/300 flying dragon. Yeah, it's broken. It is nuts. There is hopefully going to be some kind of announcement about these. But if not, I'm going to use it. I've got 3 in this deck. I could have gone for 4, but there's a reason there's only 3, because I do want to give my opponent a fair chance. And we've got, well, we may come back to that one. We'll just go. Now we've got Arashin Sovereign. Now I'm going to bring this up closer. Now, this guy is very handy. When he dies, he can go onto the top or the bottom of your library. Now, I do see the benefit in this. It's kind of like Regenerate, but it goes to your library rather than back onto the battlefield. It does stall your draw strategy a little bit because you know that your next card is going to be, so you have to pay the 7 mana to bring him back out. But being able to get your 6/6 flying dragon back is really kind of, most of the time, going to benefit you. So if your opponent is trying to beat your flyers with Typhoid Rats with flying, and we'll go over that another time, you can just deal with it, kill the other creature, and then bring your guy back. So he is a 3 of, almost a 4 of, but, trying to be fair. Now there's a few cards that I personally don't like, or that I would maybe trade out. Now we've got Dromoka Dunecaster. It's a 1-drop for a 0/2, so right off the bat, it's not really any use to me. It can block a morph at the expense of itself, but it won't kill the morph. I don't need that. But pay 1 colourless, 1 white, tap target creature without flying. Now this is almost useless in this format because every other thing's going to have flying, so that can go. We've got Territorial Rock. It's a flying bird, of course. It's a 1/3, so it can block your morphs, but it can't kill your morphs. But it's a one, one colourless, one white for a 1/3. It's respectable, but definitely can go. Salt Road Quartermasters, this guy. I would love to know what's going on with the Salt Road. There's every other creature seems to be there. Now, it's a 1/1, and it enters the battlefield with 2 1/1 counters on it. So you're paying 3 for a 3/3. Now, here's the interesting part. You pay 2 colourless, 1 green, and move a 1/1 counter from Salt Road Quartermasters to another creature. Now, you get this guy out, and you've got this guy. You move this counter to another creature, and this guy gets 1. Now, if you've got 2 of them out, that's how you trigger them. So, triggering your Enduring Scalelord is easy with this deck the way it is. Moving along, Dromoka Warrior. It's your typical 1 colourless, 1 white for a 3/1. I've left it in there because it can kill morphs, and I do kind of like the artwork. But it's your typical, warrior creature that's a 2 for, nothing too fantastic. It can... I don't know, I may keep it, may not. At the moment, it's been useful so far, so we shall see as we go. Inspiring Call, this guy over here. Draw a card for each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it. Considering that every creature you have can have a 1/1 counter on it, amazing. It's going to be so useful. Not necessarily early on, but turn 4, turn 5, maybe turn 6. Anyway, we've got Lightwalker. It's another human warrior. Definitely an idea for the whole warrior tribal deck, which you may have seen. Now, this guy has flying as long as it has a 1/1 counter on it. Now, it's easy enough to get a 1/1 counter on him with something like Salt Road Quartermasters. That we can do that, but other than that, he's not really any use other than chump blocking. So maybe he should just be in a warrior tribal deck. He's there just because I still kind of want to give him a fair chance, and the whole bolster thing with him being a 2/1 is kind of useful. I should probably mention Glaring Aegis. Now, this is a 1 drop, white, enchant creature. When Glaring Aegis enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls, enchanted creature gets 1/3. So you put this on your guy, it gets a +1/+3. Now, I like that, I'm using that, and it's a common, so you can probably use it too. 7 of the Scale. Now, this guy is, it's a 1 drop, but it enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. Now, even playing this can trigger this guy, Enduring Scalelord. Again, this deck benefits these guys, and that's how it should be. So anyway, 7 of the Scale enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. When it dies, you get to move however many counters are on it onto another creature. Another way of triggering that guy. You've probably figured that out. We've got an Aven Tactician. It's a 5 drop, which is terrible. It has flying, it's a 2/3, it's nothing special, but when it enters the battlefield, bolster. Again, bolster, you get a +1/+1 to your weakest thing. And you know what? That is incredibly useful. Okay, we've got Champion of Arashin. It's a Hound Warrior with lifelink. Now, Warrior Tribal decks will love this because it's one of the few things that I found in this block with lifelink that's a warrior. If you can name another one, please do so in the comments. Anyway, it has lifelink. It's a 3/2. It's respectable. It is a 4 drop, so you're not going to have this guy till turn 4. At the very least, you can chump block and gain 3 life. There's a few other cards in this set, but they're the ones worth mentioning. If you do get this intro pack, remember you'll get 2 Enduring Scalelords. It is worth buying 2 of these intro packs because you want that guy. You want 4 of him. Because it is so easy to get a 1-1 counter on something. Pretty much every Megamorph creature gets a 1-1 counter. So getting a 1-1 counter is easy. Triggering those guys is easy. And then you have your 20 flying whatever. Now, of course, it's overpowered. And your opponent can do any number of things to deal with it. But you've got 3 of them. If I've got 3 flyers that are 20s, or even, just for the sake of it, 100, what can I do against that? Nothing. Okay, well, I can do a few things. That's where pacifism comes in handy. It's 2-drop. You throw this on this guy, he's no problem. So, when you're deck building, you need to remember to be able to protect him. And there's a few cards in the set that you can do that with. But the problem with this strategy is that everyone is going to see that this guy, he can buff his duplicate, and his duplicate can buff him, and it will just go up and 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 up, and you get the idea. So the thing is, everyone's going to know that, everyone will probably do that. So there's so many easy ways to deal with that. Anyway, hopefully I've given you something to think about. If you've got any questions or want more detail, please don't hesitate to ask. I am overall really happy with this deck. You can play it even as it is, and it does stand a fair chance against just generic modern decks. I wouldn't normally advise playing an intro pack against a constructed deck or a modern deck or anything, but this deck can hold its own. It is, it's expect to see Enduring Scalelord at the Pro Tour, and he is definitely a must-have. Anyway, moving right along. Land count. There is an Evolving Wilds in the deck. Now, I've used Evolving Wilds once in my entire life playing Magic. Once, and that was with this deck, because I played it as it was, and I didn't shuffle it very well, so I kind of needed to. But I took that out because it's not needed. You've got the Dromoka Monument, and this guy's worth mentioning because, it costs 3, but you tap it, you get green or white mana. Fantastic, right? Saves having a land. And 4 colourless, 1 green, 1 white, it becomes a 4/4 green and white dragon artifact with flying until end of turn. So you've got yourself an emergency blocker. I think that's fantastic. That is just my opinion. I like that card. I would probably put possibly 2 in. I wouldn't go too overboard because you want to keep your mana curve pretty, or you want to have your standard mana curve. You don't want to be stuck needing 6 mana every turn, even though you can do that. But I'm just saying, like, you've got so many 6 drops that you want to have it balanced, 2 drop, 3 drop, 4 drop, 5 drop, whatever. So, great deck as it is, definitely playable. Hope you like this video. I would like to do more things like this. I would like to do them a lot better. So if you've got ideas or suggestions, please throw them out. And thanks for watching.